Most people using Grok right now are sleeping on what xAI just quietly dropped. Grok 4.20. Not an update, not a patch. A completely different architecture. I dug into the docs, tested the API, and what I found genuinely surprised me. Because this thing doesn't give you one AI answering your question. It gives you four, debating each other, before you see a single word.
Welcome back to bitbiased.ai, where we do the research so you don't have to. Join our community of AI enthusiasts with our free weekly newsletter. Click the link in the description below to subscribe. You will get the key AI news, tools, and learning resources to stay ahead.
So, in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what Grok 4.2 Agent Mode is, how it works under the hood, and, most importantly, how you can actually use it. Whether you're a developer building with the API, or just someone trying to get smarter answers. We'll go through the setup, the real cost breakdown, the best prompting strategies, and the limitations xAI doesn't put in the headline. Let's get into it. What is Grok 4.2 Agent Mode? Before we talk about how to use it, you need to understand what makes Grok 4.2 fundamentally different from every other model out there right now. Most AI models, GPT, Gemini, Claude, work as a single brain. You ask, they answer. Grok 4.2, which xAI also calls Grok 4.20 Beta, doesn't do that. Every single query you send spins up four specialized agents simultaneously. There's the captain, just called Grok, who coordinates everything. Then there's Harper, the research and facts agent. Benjamin handles math and logic. And Lucas covers creative thinking and UX balance. Here's where it gets interesting. These agents don't just divide the work and hand it off. They actually debate each other. They fact-check, they critique, they push back. And only then does the captain synthesize a final answer. xAI calls it a society of mind approach, and the whole point is built-in contrarianism. The agents are designed to catch each other's mistakes before the answer reaches you. Now you might be thinking, okay, that sounds expensive. And it is, which we'll get to. But the compute overhead is only about 1.5 to 2.5 times a single model, because all four agents share the same underlying weights and context window. So you're not running four entirely separate models. You're running one model with four thinking heads. The result? Dramatically fewer hallucinations, much stronger reasoning on complex problems, coding, theorem proving, stock analysis, open-ended research, and answers that have actually been pressure tested before they reach you. That's a meaningful shift from what we've been working with. Getting access and your API key. All right, let's talk about actually getting into this thing. Grok 4.2 is currently in limited beta, rolling out to Super Grok and Premium Plus subscribers. If you want API access, you'll need to join the xAI waitlist at x.ai docs. That's the honest answer. It's not fully open yet. Once you're in, the setup is straightforward. Head to the xAI console, create your account, load it with credits, and generate an API key under the API keys section. Store that key as an environment variable, xAI AP key, and you're ready to make requests. For Python developers, xAI has their own SDK. Install it with pip install xAI SDK. Your first call looks like this. You create a client with your API key, create a chat instance pointing to your chosen model, append a system message and a user message, and call chat sample to get the response. Simple. If you're in the JavaScript world, the Versal AI SDK supports Grok natively via the AAI SDK XI package. And if you're already familiar with OpenAI's SDK, good news, Grok's API is fully compatible. All you need to do is point the base URL to api.xai-v1 and swap in your xAI key. No other changes required. One thing to watch. Set your request timeout high. For complex agent mode queries, xAI's own docs recommend something like 3600 seconds. If you leave it at a default low value, you'll get timeout errors on heavy reasoning tasks and waste credits in the process. The real cost breakdown. This is the part that catches a lot of people off guard, so let's be clear about it. Grok 4.1 Fast, which includes the 2 million token context window and covers most everyday use, runs at $0.20 per thousand input tokens and $0.50 per thousand output tokens. For the vast majority of queries, this is what you should be using. The standard Grok 4 model, the non-fast version, costs 3 $ORs per thousand input and 15 $ORs per thousand output. That's a significant jump, and xAI themselves recommend sticking with fast unless you genuinely need the extra horsepower. But here's the part people miss. Tools cost extra on top of token pricing. Web search costs $5 per thousand calls. xSearch is the same. Code execution is $5 per thousand. Attachment search is $10. Collections search, for RAG workflows, is $2.50 per thousand. Every tool invocation adds both latency and cost, so you want to be deliberate about which tools you're enabling per request. The good news, if you're doing high-volume batch work, is that xAI launched a batch API in January 2026 that cuts token costs by 50%. The trade-off is latency. Results can take up to 24 hours. But for non-real-time processing like nightly data ingestion or bulk document analysis, it's a significant saving. The bottom line on cost management. Use fast mode for 80% of your queries. Reserve 4-agent mode for genuinely complex, multifaceted tasks, and keep streaming enabled so you're not waiting on full responses to arrive before processing begins. Tools and function calling. Now let's talk about what actually makes this model powerful in practice: the tools. Grok 4.2 comes with a set of built-in server-side tools: web search, xSearch, code execution, attachment search, and collection search. You enable them by including them in the tools array of your API request. The model decides when to invoke them based on the query. You don't have to manage the execution on your end for built-in tools. It all runs on xAI's servers. For custom tools, you use function calling. You define a function with a name, a description, and a JSON schema for its parameters. Included in the tools array. When the model decides it needs that function, it returns a tool.call response instead of a final answer. Your code then executes the function locally, feeds the result back to the conversation, and calls the model again. It sounds like extra steps, but in practice it's a clean loop that gives you enormous flexibility. Database queries, internal APIs, proprietary calculations, all invocable by the model on demand. Beyond custom functions, Grok also supports remote MCP tools, the Model Context Protocol. You configure an external MCP endpoint in your request, and Grok can call into it exactly like a built-in tool. This is how you extend Grok with your own knowledge base or connect it to internal systems without exposing everything through the standard function calling interface. One practical note on streaming with tools. If you're using stream mode and the model decides to call a tool, the entire tool call block arrives as one chunk. It isn't streamed token by token. Keep that in mind when building your response handling logic so you don't miss it. Prompting, memory, and safety. Let's get into the things that actually separate people who get great results from Grok and people who don't. Prompt engineering matters a lot here. Because Grok 4.2 is running multiple agents with different specializations, your system prompt directly shapes how those agents behave. Be explicit. Tell the model what tools it has, when to use them, and what format you want the answer in. xAI has actually published their official Grok system prompts on GitHub at xai.org Grok prompts. That's worth a look if you want to see how they think about this internally. A simple but effective pattern. You are Grok, a helpful AI assistant with access to web search and Python execution. Use web search for facts, code execution for calculations. Include citations in your answer. That kind of explicit framing significantly improves both accuracy and traceability. On memory, the response's API is stateful. When you use the previous chuck response ID parameter, you continue the conversation without resending the full history each time. Conversation state is stored server-side for up to 30 days. Cached tokens are free, so leveraging this properly saves you both latency and money on long multi-turn interactions. For persistent domain-specific memory, the collections tool is the answer. Upload your documents, manuals, or datasets to an xAI collection, their built-in vector database, and enable the collection's stock search tool. Grok will query your private data as part of its reasoning. This is a proper RAG setup with minimal configuration, and it's genuinely one of the more underutilized features in the current setup. On safety, the multi-agent debate architecture does reduce hallucinations meaningfully, but don't treat that as a guarantee. Always enable inline citations by including include inline citations in your request. The response will contain markdown links to source URLs, making every factual claim traceable. For compliance-critical applications, use the non-agent fast mode for determinism and layer your own output validation on top. Workflows, templates, and orchestration. Here's where things get practical. Let me walk you through a few workflows that work well with Grok 4.2. For research tasks, the pattern is simple. System prompt sets. Grok as a research assistant with access to web and X search. User asks a factual question, and the model queries sources, debates across agents, and returns an answer with inline citations. Enable inline citations, and you get a response where every claim links directly to its source. For coding tasks, enable code execution in your tools array. The model will write code, run it, and return the output in the same response. This is particularly useful for data transformation, algorithm testing, or rapid prototyping, where you want to see the result immediately, not just the code. For multi-turn project work, break the problem into steps and use previous response ID to chain them. Prompt Grok to outline a plan first. Then in the next turn, ask it to execute a specific step. Then the next. This is a manually orchestrated agent loop, and it's actually more reliable than trying to have the model do everything in a single massive prompt. If you want to go further and run genuinely parallel orchestration, say one Grok call with web search pulling current data and another with fast reasoning doing calculations, you can spawn 2 concurrent API calls from your code and combine the outputs. Frameworks like LangChain and AutoGen both support Grok as a backend model, so you can plug directly into existing agent orchestration infrastructure. Limitations you should know. No serious review skips this part. Here are the real limitations. Knowledge cutoff is November 2024. For anything more recent, you need web or X search enabled. Don't rely on the model's pre-trained knowledge for current events or recent data releases. Hallucinations are reduced, not eliminated. The agent debate helps significantly, but on obscure or niche queries, the model can still confidently produce incorrect information. Require citations, cross-verify critical outputs, and consider prompting the model explicitly to say, "I don't know," when uncertain. Agent mode is slower than single agent. The multi-agent reasoning adds latency. Use streaming to mitigate this in production. Set your timeouts appropriately, and downgrade to fast mode when speed matters more than depth. Availability is still limited. As of early 2026, Grok 4.20 is in private beta. API parameters and model names may change before general release. Pin your SDK version and watch xAI's release notes closely. For compliance in regulated environments, Grok adheres to xAI's content policies, but the responsibility for output validation is yours. Enable audit logging and RBAC in the xAI Enterprise console if you're deploying in a team setting. Monitoring and logging in production. If you're building anything serious on top of Grok, logging is non-negotiable. Every API response includes a usage object, log total, tokens, input to tokens, output to tokens, and reasoning to tokens per request. This is how you track costs at a granular level and catch runaway loops early. Also, inspect server security side to tool usage to see exactly how many times each built-in tool was invoked per query. Latency measurement is on you. xAI doesn't expose APM data yet, so time your API calls client-side and set alerts for anything abnormal. For output quality, track your citations. The response.citations list tells you which sources the model actually pulled from. If you're seeing answers with few or no citations on fact-based queries, that's a signal to adjust your prompts or double-check that tools are enabled correctly. For team deployments, use the xAI console's audit logging and role-based access controls to track which API key made which call. That's the governance layer you'll need if you're operating in any kind of regulated or enterprise context. Grok 4.20 Agent Mode is genuinely one of the more interesting architectural bets in AI right now. The idea that a model can pressure test its own answer before returning it, through real internal disagreement, is different from what everyone else is doing. Whether that's the right long-term direction, I'll let the benchmarks and your own testing decide. If you found this useful, drop a comment with what you'd actually want to build with this. And if there's a specific model or AI tool you want me to dig into next, API level, not just the surface demo, let me know below. I'll see you in the next one.